Well, hello there, fellow meadow animals. I'm Bella, and welcome. Let's just dive right into this comforting explainer together, shall we? Today, I really want to walk you through a story about finding hope when those totally unexpected storms of life hit. You know the ones where our own personal berry bushes feel entirely ruined. We're going to step back into our cozy, gentle world today to learn a very real, practical lesson about resilience and the sheer power of mindset. Section 1. Welcome to Ferny Meadow. Meet Bella Bunny.
So, you all know my signature phrase by now. Whenever my friends in the meadow worried about the future, I would gently offer this exact reminder. I'd say, maybe something good is waiting just around the corner. Now, some of you absolutely loved that cheerful attitude, right? It made you feel safe, grounded, comforted. But others? Well, let's be honest. You found it just a little too hopeful, or maybe even a bit naive. Because hey, it's super easy to be positive when the sun is shining. The real test of my comforting mindset was about to arrive.
Section 2. The dark and stormy night. A sudden threat. I want you to imagine being tucked quietly into your burrow on a chilly evening when our peaceful status quo was just suddenly shattered. I still remember the terrifying progression of that exact storm. It escalated so incredibly fast for us. In the evening, these dark, heavy clouds aggressively gathered, totally blocking out the stars, and this heavy rain just started pouring down. By nightfall, those strong winds were violently tearing branches down all around us. And by morning, the beautiful forest we loved so much was left cold, muddy, and pretty much ruined. It was a really powerful reminder of how quickly things can go wrong, leaving us staring at the unexpected wreckage of our habitats. Now, there was a really stark contrast in how we dealt with that wreckage. On one hand, there was totally valid panic. Penny Porcupine was terrified the river would flood, Max the Bear was grumbling about not being able to gather any food, Oliver Owl feared his nest would completely fall out of the tree. And honestly, these were real frightening problems. But I knew I couldn't just panic. Looking through my perspective, we needed a totally different approach. My gentle insistence to the group was simply this: we have to help one another and stay calm. But of course, calm words are really hard to hear when you're standing in the middle of a literal disaster. It is completely normal to feel upset. Max the Bear actually sighed really loudly and told me straight up that not everything is good. And you know what? He was completely right. The storm was terrible, the mud was freezing cold. To the rest of you shivering out there in the meadow, my positivity probably felt like I was just flat out refusing to accept reality. But my response to Max wasn't to argue that the storm was wonderful. I validated his feelings. I said, I know, Max. But here is the true power of that mindset, the real secret. Positivity helps us find solutions instead of just giving up. Think about it. If we just complain, we stay stuck right there in the freezing mud. But if we actually believe things can get better, we start looking for a way out. Section 3. Finding the little light. Actionable hope. As that gloomy morning fully revealed just how much we'd lost, Max's fishing spots had disappeared, Penny's berry bushes were ruined, and even our cheerful squeaky mouse looked deeply upset. I knew words just weren't enough anymore. I needed to show you what actionable hope actually looked like. So I ran back to my burrow and came back carrying my tiny glowing lantern. I held it up proudly right there in the gloomy cold forest to show everyone that when things feel incredibly dark, even a tiny light can guide us. I reminded you all that while we definitely had massive problems today, we still had each other. That warm glow represented the hope that, together, we could absolutely rebuild.
Section 4. Rebuilding our home together. Shared purpose.
My steady voice and that warm little light began to soothe the overwhelming fear in the meadow. You could practically feel the panic starting to drain away. And this is exactly how positive thinking helps us find solutions. Because once we embraced this mindset, we unlocked the ability to actually fix our meadow. Oliver took to the sky to find safe branches for the broken nests. Big, strong Max offered to move all those heavy fallen logs. Penny scurried off to find fresh berries from the bushes that actually survived the storm. Positive thinking didn't magically fix the forest, right? It simply gave us the energy to do the hard work ourselves, step by careful step. And as we worked side by side, the clouds slowly parted and golden sunlight finally returned to the meadow. And then we noticed something absolutely amazing. The terrifying rainstorm had actually carried brand new seeds down the riverbank, and right then, tiny, beautiful, colorful flowers were blooming absolutely everywhere. The forest was actually more beautiful than before. I smiled and pointed out to the group that sometimes hard days bring unexpected gifts. If we had just stayed hiding in our burrows complaining, we might never have noticed those beautiful new blooms. Section 5. The meaning of positivity. Believing in better. Looking around at our beautifully renewed forest, Max scratched his furry head and chuckled. He finally understood my secret. Positivity isn't just closing your eyes and pretending everything is perfect while your home is literally falling apart around you. Not at all. Positivity is an active, comforting belief. It means knowing deep down that things can and will get better if we hold on to hope, treat each other with kindness, and work together as a team through those really difficult times. It is the absolute essential fuel for problem solving. So we ended our incredibly long, hard day with a wonderfully warm celebration right under the big oak tree. Oliver hung glowing acorn lamps everywhere. Penny made a massive batch of sweet, delicious berry soup. And most touchingly for me, Max gifted me a beautiful, hand-carved wooden lantern. He proudly thanked me for being our light in the dark when we needed it most. It was truly special. From that day on, the entire mindset of Ferny Meadow completely shifted. Whenever a new problem popped up, instead of immediately sinking into despair and crying that everything is ruined, we all remembered that tiny glowing lantern. We shifted immediately to actionable, unwavering hope, and everyone started adopting my favorite phrase, maybe something good is waiting just around the corner. With those hopeful hearts, our forest always felt just a little bit brighter. So, my friends, I'll leave you with this final thought today. Storms are always going to come. The wind will blow, and things will inevitably get muddy in our own lives. But when the next storm hits your meadow, what tiny lantern will you light? How can you use hope and teamwork to not just passively wait out those dark moments, but actively guide yourself and your community toward the light? Thank you so much for letting me share my story in this explainer today. And remember, keep looking just around the corner.